the ball midway inside his own half and took on the Wraith defence single-handed. Running all the way there, but he couldn't hit the target with his finish. Hearts came desperately close to scoring in the 36th minute. Tom Carson failed to hold Mackay's cross, Fashanu struck the post, Wright's effort was blocked, and then Locke's shot was deflected for a corner. But the Tynecastle side had more luck 3 minutes into the second half. Again, Carson fumbling the cross and leaving John Robertson with the easiest of chances. He doesn't miss those. Hearts were well in command. Cahoon and Fashanu both came close, and then Peter van de Ven homed in on target. Craig Levine came within an inch of getting a second for Hearts. But then, in a rare attack, Wraith Rovers created an excellent equalising opportunity. Unfortunately for the Kirkcaldy side, Gordon Dalziel blew it. John Cahoon carved out a chance 4 minutes from time, but his shot went wide and Hearts had to settle for a 1-0 victory. For Hearts defender James Weir, the new signing from Hamilton, straight in against a Hibs side which included Michael O'Neill, bought on Friday from Dundee United. Recent Edinburgh derbies have not been noted for their quality. Unfortunately, this was to be no exception. Just 3 minutes on the clock when Darren Jackson was booked for going in late on Gary Locke. An unpleasant incident, and this was to prove costly later for the Hibernian skipper. As far as chances went, the first fell to Hearts. Tosh McKinley's free kick picking out Justin Fashanu, but his looping header landed on the top of the net. At the other end, Michael O'Neill almost made a name for himself, latching on to Keith Wright's knockdown, Craig Levine making a timely intervention. Fashanu was causing problems for Hibs, this time eluding two defenders before again finding the top of the net from a difficult angle. Then controversy just before half-time. Keith Wright through, but going in late on Henry Smith when the ball appeared to be in the keeper's grasp. And keep an eye on Tosh McKinley and Darren Jackson at this stage, a flashpoint that spilled over after the match. Quite unpleasant and unnecessary scenes these altogether. It ended up with Keith Wright being booked. Hearts had substitute keeper John Gardner warming up, but an obviously dazed Henry Smith insisted he'd continue. Smith came out for the second half and he was called into early action, saving from Darren Jackson following a good cross by Kevin McAllister. Hearts finally broke the deadlock in 52 minutes. Fashanu starting the attack. But John Cahoon was forced back. And when Gary Locke crossed to the far post, substitute Alan Johnson controlled the ball and then composed himself well before applying the finish. Hearts started to play a bit towards the end. Johnson and McKinley combining well on the left, and Fashanu pounced on the loose ball, only to be robbed of the second goal by Leighton. Hibs had one last hurrah. Willie Miller sending in a fierce shot in the last minute, but Smith coped, and it was the Hearts fans who were celebrating at the end. Johnson, the hero of the hour, with an effort much appreciated by his skipper. Far too physical an affair at Canadice. Too many fouls, too many breakdowns in play. There were chances though. United's early pressure almost paid dividends when Paddy Connolly put Henry Smith under pressure, but the Hearts defenders cleared the danger. Myers was booked for that challenge on Mackay, but Hearts kept up the pressure. Fashanu held the ball up well. Kevin Thomas then cut in from the right and crossed into the box. Cahoon's finish hardly troubled Alan Main though. This was the best chance of the first half. United's Dave Bowman with a cracking shot off the post. But Hearts could have gone in one up had Gary Mackay's effort been on target here. In between the over-physical play, there were second-half chances for both sides. It was Mackay who again tested Alan Main. The keeper saved well there. Then a great chance for Hearts. Main could only get a touch to Cahoon's corner kick. Levine controlled it well and hammered it goal-bound. Van der Hoorn headed clear. At the other end, another good cross from Myers, and Brian Welsh came so close to breaking the deadlock. Smith could have done little to keep it out. Then a great effort from United's talented youngster Andy McLaren. He took the direct route to goal and unleashed a tremendous strike. Smith saved well. United finished the stronger. Bowman again had a go from distance. This time a deflection saved Hearts with Smith rooted to the spot. And then McLaren might just have done it. A tremendous turn and pass coming up from substitute Scott Crabb. It went through to the youngster, but he knocked it agonisingly wide. No goals, 7 bookings, but McLaren, once looking to be on his way out of United, clearly one for the future.
Yeah, at the start of the season, I didn't...
Partick Thistle, young Kevin Thomas setting up the experienced John Cahoon for a left-foot drive which thumped off the crossbar on the way over. The first goal was all down to experience though. Cahoon's corner to the head of Craig Levine and Hearts 1 up. Thomas almost added to Hearts' tally in 29 minutes, but the strength of his finish didn't match the quality of the turn and skill which gave him the space for the shot. The second goal came soon enough though, and it was a tough one on Thistle. Fashanu's cross deflected off Grant Tierney and flying past a helpless Craig Nelson. There was worse to come for Tierney and in turn for Fashanu 5 minutes into the second half. Watch the top right-hand corner of the picture, an off-the-ball incident involving the two players. The linesman saw it, and you can see it clearly in replay. An elbow in the face by Fashanu, who deservedly received his marching orders. Thistle used the extra man advantage to pull a goal back. George Shaw eventually working the ball to Jerry Britton, and Henry Smith will be angry that he didn't complete the save. Hearts weren't finished as an attacking force. McKinley's corner headed onto the bar by Hogg. Hearts joint top of the league.
Robertson put the Tynecastle men in front of Atletico Madrid. A superb individual goal from John Cahoon had the Edinburgh men 2 in front. But Polish international Roman Korzecki matched his solo effort with an even more impressive score. 2-1 it finished.
This is Fashanu, and taken out of the game by Mowbray, and the Celtic player will be called over here by the referee. So a word of warning suffices, but he took Fashanu right out of the game. There was no attempt to play the ball. Again, Hogg and Levine have gone forward to join Fashanu. He's been closely watched there by Boyd. It's Locke who sends it in. Levine attacks the ball. And the overhead kick there from Graham Hogg. This is Gary Mackay through for Cahoon. It's Locke. Leach. Tosh McKinley's breaking on the left, but Leach cuts inside again, gives it to Locke. Hyman played through, looking for Fashanu. A chance on for Robertson, and Hearts take the lead. 62 minutes gone, and Hearts make the breakthrough. And John Robertson gets his 5th goal of the season. And the combination working there for Hearts. Fashanu, the provider, and the finish coming from from Robertson. Fashionwood climbing high above McNally. And Robertson getting in ahead of Mowbray and finishing in clinical style. The little man has scored more than 200 goals for Hearts in his career. Fashionwood got the better of McNally in there, and Robertson stepped in ahead of Mowbray to send the ball into the back of the net. The final score here at Tynecastle, Hearts 1, Celtic 0.
Road yesterday, the Hibs supporters hoping their team could end the run of 18 games without an Edinburgh derby victory. The Hearts fans keen to see that record extended and hoping their side could knock Hibs off the top of the Premier table in the process. The Easter Road club fielded the same team that started the League Cup final, and they were first to threaten. 2 minutes were on the clock when a slip by Graham Hogg gave Darren Jackson a sight of goal, but his long-range effort flew wide. Hibs had a chance to take the lead after 21 minutes, but Keith Wright failed to connect with Kevin McAllister's deflected cross. Hearts, without a win in their previous 5 league matches, bared their teeth in the 29th minute. Scott Leach showing skills that had Hibs mesmerised. But the finish was poor. Gordon Hunter came much closer for Hibs 6 minutes later. McAllister's cross headed down to the defender, whose drive wasn't far off target. It had been a niggly affair at times. Tempers flared again following Michael O'Neill's challenge on John Robertson. But it ended amicably after a few words from referee Don McVicker. Hearts took the lead in the 40th minute. John Cahoon started it, Mo Johnston and Gordon Hunter combined unintentionally, and Cahoon finished the move in spectacular style. The Tynecastle side had a chance to make it 2-0 2 minutes from the break, but Jim Leighton saved well from Jim Weir. So the Hearts fans happy with their first half advantage. A minute after the restart, Mo Johnston tried his luck for Hearts, but the effort was well off target. Weir's effort was knocked on by Johnston. John Cahoon got the break of the ball. Jim Leighton failed to hold Robertson's effort, and Cahoon stabbed the ball into the net for his and Hearts' second. Two minutes later, an incident involving Craig Levine and Graham Mitchell sparked off an angry reaction from the Hibs fans. Missiles, including coins, were thrown onto the pitch. The trouble was momentarily quelled, but blew up again a few moments later. Jim Weir struck on the arm and then in the head. The missiles continued as referee McVicker halted the game to talk to the police. Alan McLaren assisted in the clearing up operation on the field and was then spat upon by Hibs fans as he got play underway again. SFA action is inevitable. The pitch too, John Robertson's two-footed challenge and Willie Miller provoked retaliatory action from the Hibs defender. Referee McVicker, in the thick of things again, attempted to calm it down, while the management awaited his reaction. It was only a yellow card for Miller, and Robertson escaped unpunished.
The first was a gem, the second very much down to the conditions, as the big striker raised his tally for the season to 12. But Hearts sent on Gary Mackay, who gave the home side a lifeline with his first goal of the season. The team responded with John Cahoon hitting the equaliser, his third goal in 2 games.
Inches past with the aid of a deflection. From the resultant corner, Graham Hogg's header was tipped over by Alan Main. But Hearts broke the deadlock in the 33rd minute. Cahoon's corner met by Hogg. His shot struck John Clark, but Mo Johnston pounced to net his first goal for the Tynecastle club. It was a typical striker's goal. The word appeals for handball against Clark, but Johnston didn't wait for a decision. 1-0 at the interval. The second half started quietly. Not a chance created until the 64th minute. McClellan then sent a ball in from the left. It was headed goalwards by Brewster. Walker pushed it onto the bar and substitute John O'Neill followed through to tap in the rebound. 1 each. There was little more goalmouth action, although both sides had chances to win the game in the last 10 minutes. The first one fell to United, but Craig Brewster hurried his shot and the ball flew wide. Then Mo Johnston took advantage of an error by Brian Welsh, but Alan Main came to United's rescue and the points were shared.
Cahoon in the area there with Gary Smith. Ryan Grant in trouble. And it's turned in the end by Cahoon. Cahoon's in trouble there, but when he recovers, he'll realise he's put Hearts ahead. And it's a personal disaster for Ryan Grant of Aberdeen. Well, the pass-back rule did this. Ryan Grant caught in two minds at least here. Losing control of the ball, broke very kindly for Hearts. Cahoon reacted swiftly and landed very awkwardly, colliding there with Alec McLeish. Well, it's a perfect start for Hearts. They certainly have played well early on, but Ryan Grant will have nightmares about this. In serious trouble at this point. It breaks off John Robertson beyond Theo Snelders. And there's the collision. McLeish and Cahoon as the ball. Played in low and cleared by Wright. Robertson again. Oh, that was fine play there by Connor's corner. Patalainen with McLaren. And a very good block by Walker from Brian Irvin. Fine save by the Hearts goalkeeper. The corner kick saw this challenge in the air between Patalainen and McLaren. The ball breaking there. Jim Weir couldn't get to it. He was bolted in the run. Good shot by Irvin and a fine save from Walker. Remember, Hearts have made a substitution already. They've brought in Alan Johnston for the injured John Cahoon early in the match. Cahoon injured, scoring the opening goal. There's Maurice Johnston. This is for Connor. Jim Weir closing him down. That was Jess. Fine play. And there's Shearer. The equaliser for Aberdeen. And their goal machine, called Duncan Shearer, pays off again.
Who used to ply their trade for Celtic. Maurice Johnston opened the scoring for Hearts after just 11 minutes. Scott Leach sent in a free kick and Johnson proved the penalty box touch was still there when the ball is supplied in the right way. 4 minutes before half-time though, it was the other former Celtic player who took over. Paul McGrillen's knocked down, McLaren brushed aside and Tommy Coyne lethal with the finish. After the break, Motherwell took the lead. Phil O'Donnell ran forward and his pass collected by Rob McKinnon, who gave Nicky Walker little chance of making a save. Motherwell's third came 4 minutes later. Steve Kirk left Jim Weir toiling badly behind and Tommy Coyne getting on the end of the cross to notch his fourth goal in the space of 2 games. Hearts refused to lie down though and they pulled one back with 25 minutes left. Mo Johnston the supplier this time and Scott Leach scoring his first goal for Hearts since moving from Dunfermline. 3-2 now and Hearts battling for an equaliser. 10 minutes from time, the ideal opportunity. Brian Martin brought down Gary Mackay in the box and Mo Johnston stepped up to take the kick. The striker blasted the ball against the crossbar and Motherwell held on for a well-deserved victory after disappointing defeats by Rangers and Hibs. Fielders Alan Johnston and John Cahoon both started the game wearing number 7. The duplication was soon spotted and Cahoon swapped 7 for 9 to restore the balance. Hearts took the lead before 10 minutes had gone. Gary Locke's free kick was headed backwards by Maurice Johnston. Alan Johnson found himself with the ball at his feet and his cross knocked home by John Miller. Rangers' equaliser came after superb skills from Trevor Stephen. He twisted past McKinley and Berry before flighting in the type of cross Hateley thrives on. Goal number 19 for him. But through the injury gloom, surely a bonus for Rangers that Stephen's light is shining again. With McCall and Jury off injured at half-time, Vinicum and Hoostra were introduced. 20 minutes from time, Kuznetsov showed some of the old flair to send Hoostra free on the left, and his first-time pass fell perfectly for Hateley, who didn't mess about either. 2-1 Rangers, and Hateley celebrating goal number 20 of the season. 5 minutes from time, Maurice Johnston served notice that Hearts weren't for giving up. But the equalising goal came from the penalty spot. Hateley's attempted clearance clearly handled by Neil Murray, and despite Ali Maxwell's protests, the penalty given. John Robertson was given the responsibility after Mo Johnston's miss against Motherwell recently, and Hearts getting a timely lift for Saturday's Edinburgh derby. Jim Leighton was the first goalkeeper in action, a rocket shot from Gary Locke after just 6 minutes. Recalled Henry Smith had an easier task, halting Brian Hamilton's effort in a mediocre first half. Hibs made the breakthrough 10 minutes after the break. Michael O'Neill fed Graham Mitchell on the left, and his cross headed home by Keith Wright. Joy for Hibs, and have a look at substitute Darren Jackson in the tracksuit. John Robertson's overhead kick wasn't really a problem for Jim Leighton, but this low corner from Scott Leach could have been troublesome had Willie Miller not intervened. 12 minutes from time, Leach sent over another corner, and substitute John Miller nipped in to head past Leighton. Relief for Hearts, but one scare still to come. Darren Jackson came on to send Michael O'Neill clear, but Henry Smith got down well to save before the ball was sent safely into the crowd.
Away from Charlie, good play by Cahoon. Past 3 players there, and eventually it was Watson who came across. That was superb play by John Cahoon. Just skipped past 1, 2, and then 3 defenders, and Watson had to come across and send the ball out of play. Johnson climbing there, but losing out to Tierney. It's Tierney again, done by Miller. Mo Johnson. Leach trying to pick out Cahoon. Still it's Cahoon. The chance on here for Miller. 1-0 to Hearts. 20 minutes gone, and John Miller gets another important goal for Hearts. Delight among the supporters. They fairly cracked that one. It was Cahoon who played it in early. It came off Taylor, and there was a slight deflection there off Kevin McKee, but it's certainly Miller's goal. He struck it well.
Yeah, certainly John Cahoon's making a big impression in this first half, seeing a lot of the ball. He comes inside this time. The ball falls nicely on John Miller's left foot. He struck it well with the aid of a little bit of a deflection. I think that one came off Kevin McKee's foot. Maurice Johnson, the ball comes in for John Cahoon, who's been the danger man for Hearts in this first half. Look at that touch for Maurice Johnson, lovely. Falls nicely for John Robertson. I don't think he'll be too happy about missing.
But then on the threshold of half-time, the game exploded. Chick Chanley and John Cahoon clashed on the touchline in front of the Hearts dugout, with the Hearts winger clearly swinging a punch at the Thistle man. For that he was sent off, but the Hearts players, fans and management were